The March 11th workshop, we have a couple presentations. We have a presentation and a discussion on the grass cutting and maintenance. But before we go with that, I wanted to make our residents aware that we have certainly an election coming up. And we have qualified, the election board has qualified all the candidates that will be on the ballot, and there will be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 for town commissioner and 4 running for mayor. So the list has been posted on the Town of Elkton website. Is that correct, Kathleen?
Yes, and Facebook.
And on Facebook. So the list of the candidates. Good luck, everyone. Get out there and start campaigning. All right, first presentation, we have the Elkton Police Department and Red Speed gonna show us a little bit about the automated photo enforcement of speed violation. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So I just wanted to kind of give a brief introduction of in recent years, the police department in town have pursued different options with, speed enforcement and automatic speed citations, similar to what, Red Speed is going to present here today. In 2024, we reached out to other municipalities such as Perryville, and recently Rising Sun has also acquired cameras through the same company, Red Speed. Other jurisdictions close by, such as Chestertown Police Department and County, they also have acquired cameras through Red Speed. And just to kind of give you a brief idea of what this looks like. Lieutenant Lins from Chestertown Police Department provided us some general revenue with citations look like for them. In 2023, they generated over $64,000, and in 2022, they generated almost $80,000 from such programs that Red Speed is going to present here today. So we've been in conversations with them since 2024, just exploring different options and ideas, and I'll let them take it from here, so what they offer.
Thank you. And I would tell you that, fines are nice, but it's a byproduct of keeping people safe, right? And, I mean, our goal here by listening to this presentation is we want to make the people around us safer if we can. The floor is yours.
Start, or you want me to start? Okay, very good. My name is Bob Super. Would you like me to stand, or am I okay to sit?
You're good.
Okay, good, thank you. I'm a principal with Red Speed. I've been part of the ownership of the company that goes back to 2007 in the US. Our pedigree actually precedes that in London, where we provided photo enforcement and other surveillance technologies for the city of London, which is the gold standard internationally. Technical problems here?
No, we're just going to make sure we have,
I'll carry on. Hopefully by the time I'm rambling, we'll do it.
yeah.
So, we, as I said, we go back to 2007, we've since divested, the international portion. So we're entirely US based, as an entity, Red Speed USA. We operate in 7 states now, 7 US states. Every state we dominate, as far as market share is concerned. We're the leader, not only in terms of, the volume of, clients we have, but also in terms of the accuracy of what we do, the technology we provide, the ancillary features, service, and the pricing, which is important. I know it's not the most important thing, but it is relevant because it makes no sense to overpay a vendor for revenues that are generated that should be staying with the municipality. And the revenues that are generated from the program do serve a purpose. It's a force multiplier in the sense that it relieves the police department, law enforcement, from confrontational traffic stops. It treats all drivers equitably in terms that nobody's getting a break or nobody's getting any advantage from it. And it takes allows the reapplication of those resources to other things, community service, or I saw, when I was driving by the school there, that there was a police vehicle in front of the school. That's a good thing. You know, those are the kind of things you can make more of when you take this burden away from the police. Plus, the revenues are applied to, a number of commonly public safety features, not law enforcement, other public safety features that the municipality. There's one limit we discussed about, and I don't think, Elkton would, run into this, but there is a limit of, 10% of the municipal budget that can generate from these programs. Once you see 10% of the municipal budget, that's when the rest of the funds go to the state, anything over and above that. But there are workarounds even for that. We've never had a client that has ever, shared revenue with the state, because what they'll do is they'll come up with more programs that they can run through. They'll be violator-funded programs, that are run through, as an expense to the program, that will keep that, revenue portion or net revenue portion under 10%. So,
Yeah, no, so I'm Irvin Lanier. I'm the project director for the state of Maryland, as well as, we have an venture in Connecticut as well. First of all, I'm proud to be here. Thank everybody for inviting us. It's exciting to share Red Street's, perspective, as well as the business plan that we have. Obviously, we're going to talk about, Bob talked about, we're going to show slides, and soon we're going to go into experiential leadership, technology and data, implementation, public awareness, legal, and the conclusion. But I think that you'll find by the end of the slide that you'll see that we're well-versed, confident about what we do, and we have decades of experience, technical and police, behind what our product does, which has made us successful. Experiential leadership.
let me touch on this one, Erwin. This
Yeah.
is, kind of a sweet spot thing.
Yep.
A lot of people, don't realize how complex these programs are. We'll get an RFP from a municipality. Now, we got one from, somewhere in, Connecticut, I think it was, came back and said, we need, the RFP to be limited to 40 pages in content. I said, we can't cover this in 40 pages of content. Just the images alone that, where we just show what we do, is more complex, and it's not like, putting out an RFP for a bridge or something, or a sidewalk. Certainly construction is a part of it, but you have to know, not only design and engineering, you have to know, how to construct in public places without creating risk or liability. You have to, have the technology to be able to install. You've got to be able to, do the site analysis to know where they're supposed to go, and the community relations to work with the municipality, the schools, everybody else on what makes sense and where to advise these things. Then, you've got to have, understand chain of custody. You have to understand law enforcement, because anything you do that is outside of the bounds of law enforcement is going to be, catastrophic to the program. So you have to understand chain of custody, getting that to the police, getting the reviews back. Then there's the administrative things of printing, processing, posting, enveloping, getting all that stuff out efficiently tracking it to the point of receipt. So it knows it's been received by the post office or the recipient. You have that, the interaction with the Motor Vehicle Administration and the permission and the authority to be able to do that. And then once it comes back, you have the accounting, the payment processing, the auditing, knowing how to set up the bank account securely, because these are municipal funds, and there are special protections and accounting principles that go along with protecting municipal funds. Having experience and knowing how to do that, so there's no controversy and misuse of funds possible. Then you get into the archiving of the data. And then you get into the adjudication process, where we got to work with the courts, we've got to work with the prosecutors, we got to show up and provide expert testimony. We got to do this in an efficient process, so you're going to have a proper success rate in the courts, conviction rate on these citations, which we're, only rare exceptions do we ever not have a successful challenge, the response to a challenge. You have to have call centers. Some people outsource their call centers to a different country. We don't do that. All of our call centers are domestic, and they're trained, and they're bilingual. And we're, we'll talk about all these things in a little more detail. But all of this is is, too difficult to just put into a short RFP response. And it's gonna be probably the most complex, contract any municipality is ever gonna have, because it just is so pervasive in so many areas. Yeah, that the customer relation, client, community relations in terms of making sure people accept the programs, have an experience and make sure that they really, believe it's not an overreach of, just a money grab. It's something that is truly serving public safety. The communicating, in written form, communicating with posters, communicating, through websites, videos, appearances, those are all part of the program, and, that's what's entailed. So anything to add to that, Owen?
No, not at all. I think, it's definitely, we want to make sure that it's not, that there's no controversy. We want to make sure that it's a defendable installation and program. And I think that's very important to everyone in this room, that it makes sense from a safety perspective. That's our push. That's how we've gained the clientele that we have over the last 5 years. And I think we're going to achieve.
Yeah, well, that's another one to hit on, is that, the vendors that are in this business, there's only a handful of them, that do this business on any scale. All of them have had, except with the exception of Red Speed, have had issues. There've been problems, controversies, some public relations, to the point where they've had to rebrand themselves. They started as one name, and then they realized, oh, we can't continue that, and we can change our name to something else. And this will happen 2 or 3 times. We have always been Red Speed from the start, and we've been like I guess the umpire that, nobody knows. We like being low key. We like people not knowing who we are or even hearing our name, because, we're just the referees. We're the ones that, call the balls and strikes, and we give the data to you guys, and if you agree with it, we process that stuff.
Next. So for traffic, obviously Red Speed, it's endorsed by a few organizations, statewide.
You want to pull that mic over, in front of you, sir?
Oh, that's this. Is that better, sir?
Well, it's fine for me. I was also trying to look out for the audience.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Since they're taxpayer and they might buy into this, or
Yeah.
not buying it, so I'm trying to help you sell it.
I definitely appreciate that, sir, absolutely. So Red Speed, we've joined partnership with several entities across the state. And again, what's important to us is that the public understands the relationships we have with police departments. In this case, we are a good partner with MTA, which is Minority Chiefs Alliance. I happen to be the executive director of that, and it's Minority Chiefs across the state. Up to this point, we're probably more than 20 in our alliance. I organized this, well, my brother and I organized this about 4 years ago. We're both retired Prince George County police officers. We've been retired for a while, but to galvanize the police officers across the state, and as a lobbying function, I try to make sure that we're up to snuff in regards to any kind of grants or any kind of self-serving entities within the small local municipalities. Most have less than 30 officers, and sometimes the funds don't travel down from the state to those types of municipalities. In this case, we're going to be functioning and helping 3 or 4 summer programs in those municipalities, career days, those types of things. So it's just one of the entities that we're proud to be partnered with. We're going to show a short video, about 3 minutes and 45 seconds or so, and this explains some of Red Speed Squares and how they operate. Lieutenant, I'm going to make sure I push the start button, if you don't mind, it would help.
Yes.
Redspeed USA is a proven leader in the automated photo enforcement industry. The unique video-based system designed to maximize red light and speed violation capture and enhance public safety through its 4-in-1 platform. Red light enforcement. The Redspeed system supports up to 7 lanes of enforcement with multiple lane-specific HD video cameras. Combination of 3D radar or in-ground sensors, Redspeed system can capture multiple simultaneous speed and/or red light violations across all 7 lanes of enforcement. Redspeed utilizes infrared illumination technology for night enforcement, eliminating the need for driver-distracting white flash. Unique to the Redspeed system is the license plate rewind function. All competitor systems produce 2 still frames for evidence packaging, therefore missing the violation in case the still images are unclear, illegible, or obscured by other vehicles. Redspeed system allows for precise frame-by-frame extraction of license plate images by accessing archived video directly from the camera, rewinding or fast-forwarding until a clear license plate image emerges. This results in a documented 25% increase in violation capture and issuance. Video. The Redspeed system provides both real-time video streaming and 45-day video archive access via any web-enabled device, PC, smartphone, or tablet. Authorized users can access HD video from any of the overview and lane-specific video camera streams, define the time of interest, and download the video clips directly on their device. No forms, no requests, no delay in waiting for a vendor to respond. Lane-specific video cameras are zoomed in to provide clear identification of vehicle features, color, make, model, and license plate images for all lanes of enforcement. Combination of overview video and lane-specific video allows for crime investigators to not only trace a vehicle through the intersection, but also read its plate. Speed. Redspeed speed camera technology uses 3D object tracking radar detection, an above-ground, non-invasive detection method with lane-specific identification and speed triggers that record accurate speeds within plus or minus 1 mile per hour. The radar is powerful enough to simultaneously track up to 350 objects in its field of view. In addition to issuing speed violations, comprehensive speed statistics are compiled by the system and can help clients determine if there is a need for additional enforcement. Accurate speed readings can also be used in evaluating and setting the threshold for right turn red light violations. The system performs a daily startup calibration check and will start enforcement only after all checks are passed successfully. Redspeed's speed cameras work in all weather conditions and can be configured to work simultaneously with red light enforcement, video surveillance, and automatic license plate recognition. License plate recognition. A license plate recognition module is a real-time license plate identification system, a centralized plate archive across all LPR-enabled cameras that work simultaneously with the red light and/or speed enforcement system. LPR leverages existing camera photo enforcement hardware and scans all vehicle plates that pass by the lane-specific video camera's field of view. LPR supports real-time Amber Alert functionality with text or email notifications to individual or groups of authorized recipients. LPR can import existing state and federal hot lists, generate custom hot lists, and export plate archive databases to third-party applications already in use by the customer.
So that's a nutshell. If you go back to slide 4, when,
Yep.
that's a nutshell on, what we do and how we do it. I guess the other, just a point of emphasis, about that video, obviously you can tell we're sophisticated at what we do. And there's the reason why we dominate, the markets we're in. And that's because we know we've got the goods. You know, when you're dealing with Redspeed, you're dealing with the best in the industry. There's only a single leader, and you know, in the hamburger business, there's only one McDonald's, right? And we're at that standard for our industry. The programs we do focus on improving driver behavior and public safety above revenues. We are the most economically efficient. We'll talk about that in a minute, but this slide deals with the change shown in the studies in certain communities we've operated in, where we've reduced speeding 95% in Gwinnett County, to 7% recurring violations, and only 2% are contesting there. Alpharetta's, again, 99%, in Henry County is down 80%. So these are significant changes in driver behavior. Georgia's a little different. That's why we studied Georgia, because these statistics vary according to where you are and what the community's like, the profiles. When you're outside of Atlanta and you're going somewhere in Georgia, it gets pretty dusty pretty quick, right? You're getting it, and you're not commuting to anywhere else nearby. Augusta is 2.5 hours away, and you know, you've got Athens somewhere near Atlanta. Pretty much everything else kind of filters out. The Eastern Corridor is not quite like that. Everybody's going to someplace. You've got Boston, Philadelphia, you've got, Baltimore, all the way down to DC, Richmond. It just keeps going the whole way, the 95 corridor and everything surrounding that. And there's a lot of commuter traffic going every which direction in those areas. So you're not going to reduce things quite as much in those areas. But what you will find is that your local community, particularly if they're informed, which we'll help with, will understand the placement of these, the purpose of them, and the violations of the local residents will be, unless people have problems, so they're speeding problems, their driving behavior otherwise. But with those exceptions, the community generally adapts to that, and the violations are being applied to the transient traffic coming through, visitors passing through, or people driving from one way to the next, going to town. So, and we are in the process of updating all of that with the International Institute of Highway Safety presently to study all the states we operate and show the changes in driver behavior reflected in this everywhere, and also the reduction in insurance rates for these programs.
I think that lends itself to the presentation that that LT gave in regards to America. It's not about revenue. It's the fundamental premise is changing that behavior, showing the public, that transition from an unsafe road to a safe road, which generally takes less than probably about 6 months. So we can provide that data. We can also, from an advertising standpoint, if you will, create images and videos where we can explain specific to Elkton what those changes, how they occurred, when they started, and how they resolved in regards to the danger, traffic accidents, protecting children in elementary schools. So it's a vast program in regards to public outreach.
This is our org chart. I said to spend time on that. This is a very experienced team. It's been here a long time. This is how we go about things. It's a hybrid management where we have the functional disciplines, head of accounting, head of human resources, head of marketing, head of sales, head of construction, development, engineering, all these things. And we make sure that they're trained at the top of their field at what they do. And then we take that, flip it sideways, and we have a project team leader that's responsible for every state. So somebody for every discipline participates on every community's status every single week in weekly meetings. And we go through every single project and review everything, look for any aberrations, any anomalies. And when things are going well, we make sure that gets communicated back to the client as well too. The statistics that come out of that through our reports, we'll get to in a little bit, that gets disseminated through good news out to the community as well. Robert Lieberman's our CEO. He's been there since we started in 2007, and been very steady, rock of stability in, advancing our community where we are. I'm the principal, I'm acting CFO presently. We've had a controller in place, and we decided we, at a point where we need a formal CFO, so I'm covering that base while we go through an extensive search for a permanent CFO replacement, and I've already been through my background.
That's a great picture, by the way. Wow.
For example, Adi is another principal. He's a partner in business development in Maryland. All of our ownership team is active in supporting this. This is the case where people invest in this company and then just get the distribution checks. We all have assignments. Mine is Maryland, Fergus, Maryland. We actually have 8 investors who are from Maryland and all active here, homegrown, all University of Maryland graduates like I am. And that local knowledge gives us a well. Everyone's from Philadelphia. We don't hold that against them.
So, go Eagles. So, so actually, it's right outside Philadelphia, a small town called Chester, PA, but knows what that is. And I moved down to Prince George County, and then came briefly officer. And I'm one of 6 children that are in law enforcement that my mom and dad raised. So I'm the youngest. I just followed suit down there. So I'm proud to come back up here. I feel very familiar with the area, obviously, over the years. So proud to be back semi-locally as well. So the next slide.
Gregory Johnson, our controller.
Yeah.
Just look through these. This isn't really.
I think you can go through all these players here for us.
Yeah. We can do all that.
Get right to the nuts and bolts of it.
There you go.
We've already discussed our technologies, been through that. We can integrate ALPR if you need that. Still do that. With LiDAR. Keep going. I just talked about the technology. We have any details of that later. That's not significant. Go past that. Everything's certified. We get certification letters. Make sure that they're calibrated daily, but certified annually. Implementation. This isn't current, but it gives you an idea how we cover Maryland across the board. You rising side in the corner. We'd be the next dot in the corner. This is our client roster. We have, I think, 53 programs reporting in the state. We do 35 of them presently and growing. That actually scrolls down, but there you'll see the color coding shows the number of clients that used to be with prior municipalities, prior vendors used to be with prior vendors that switched over to RedSpeed. So there's been a total of 15 in Maryland of our 35 that used to operate with prior vendors that because of our service and quality package have switched over to us. And yeah, I guess we can't scroll down. Let's do it. Oh, it does, yeah, okay. Which next slide? That's the number of systems. In fact, that's old data.
That's all.
We're already well over 1,500 nationwide. We're up to over 100 systems in Maryland we operate.
Yeah.
And pretty soon we'll be bigger than Illinois there. You switch that. Government affairs. Okay. So here we talk about educating the public. We offer public relations assistance to every community. We help you set up your website. Irwin was just before school, elementary school, what was it, 2 days, 3 days ago, whatever it was. Talking about public safety and how these programs work, keep them safe and the virtues of the programs.
Yeah, it gets that granular. We periodically will show up at elementary school, junior high school, just to talk about the idea of safety and speak them and what they do. So it becomes organic. Hopefully, they'll take that back to their parents. So, but you better man.
So handouts, flyers, maps, posters, and we disseminate and we put them post them on your site if you need to, the data and statistics that are produced by our program. We have public service announcements, videos that we've done, and we've brought a couple of examples. We won't play the whole video for you, but we can give you a touch of what they are. I think it's on the next slide, Erwin.
School zone speed cameras have been proven to reduce speeds and improve safety around our schools. Our speed enforcement cameras are located at our public schools and at Gulliver Preparatory Academy, True North Academy, and Ram Bam Day School at Temple Beth Am.
We want our students and our families to know that we are watching out for our children, and we're doing that in all aspects while they're out of school, coming to school, and inside.
Drivers will be notified with signs that photo enforcement is being utilized in the area. School cameras are active whenever school is in session. Enforcement hours begin 30 minutes before the start of the school day and continue until 30 minutes after school ends. Drivers traveling in excess of 10 miles per hour will be cited. The notice of violation is a civil penalty. It will be mailed to the vehicle's registered owner, and it includes a $100 fine. The driver's license will not incur any points, and it won't affect your insurance either. The Village of Pinecrest will retain 60% of the funds to administer the speed detection system program.
It's just going to build a safer and better Village of Pinecrest. Be part of a team that's going to make this community bigger, better, and safer.
Pinecrest Police Department encourages all drivers, especially in school zones, to put down their phone, pay attention to the road rules, and be a responsible driver.
All right.
So nuestra,
Give me a touch of the one. Oh, just a touch of it. So you see the Spanish version.
Yep.
Don't worry about it.
Right.
Not important.
so nuestras cámaras van a estar instaladas en todas las escuelas de day.
So there they did it bilingual.
So legal,
Mhm. Skip over that.
yeah.
Skip over that. Connecticut. We brought the Connecticut version. We just brought the known version. Skip over that. The relevant point of the prior slide was cost neutrality is guaranteed. We make sure that it's always revenue positive. There's never anything but revenues, never any cost for the community. And the program's mathematically guaranteed to do that, but we also ensure over that. This slide is too small to read, but I can tell you what it is. The Maryland State Police Training Standards Commission compiles data from every program in the state. It's mandated. That's how we know we're the most economical in the state, is because we compiled it into these charts. They started in 2016, and for every single year that we've operated, we've always returned more than 60% of the revenues to every client that we provide services for. The lion's share of each of the programs go back to the state. This is part of the largest reason why we've grown so quickly in Maryland. It was so eye-popping when we showed clients and prospects in Maryland, the bad contracts they had. And it's just indefensible to continue with what they were doing, allow them to just flip right over to us. The lower left-hand corner, the left side of that slide shows all of the competitive clients in the state. We can shoot you a copy of these so you can read them, more easily. But the left side there, this is 2023. It showed only 14% of all the revenues generated in these programs, as reported to the state. Only 14% of the revenue stayed in the communities, versus 63% in 2023 for us. And the middle of that right side shows every single year we're above 60% every year. The programs from the competitors started out more towards 40% back in 2016, but over time they've just declined more and more because the nature of their contracts are either flat fees or some basis that motivates obsolescence, motivates poor performance, motivates a decline in revenues, because the less they do, the more they make. Ours is structured in a way that we only get paid for what we do, which is the reason why it's self-fulfilling.
Yeah, question.
Always.
Yeah, interrupt at any time, please.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking revenues, since this doesn't affect their license or registration, what do you do when they don't pay?
Oh, it does affect the registration.
Oh, it does.
Doesn't go under
Okay.
license for
I
points.
misunderstood it. No,
Yeah, they're not
no.
allowed to, register. It's like a parking ticket. You have too many parking tickets.
Oh, okay.
Since you have presented your program and it appears to be very good and you think so, and perhaps you've given us things to think about that. And anytime you have a program, technology, you always try to make it better. So at this point, since its inception, what is it about your program that either has glitches or something you didn't work on, something you've got to improve, or some update that is needed? Are there?
Oh, we update all the time.
All right, go away from the update, and that's good with any technology program.
Yeah.
But what glitches might you have when you started this program and you didn't fulfill what you thought you was going to do along the way, and it sort of irritated the program that you have in place?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And, as far as the program glitches, they really, each state has nuance. So when there's a new, adaptation, for example, in Maryland, in 2025, there's a new statute that passed on the amount of fines, the citation levels, right? So, it used to be $40 for every violation. Then it allowed the increase from $40 between 12 and 15, and then up to 20 miles an hour over speed limit. It went up to $70 and then increased above that. So we have to modify for those types of adjustments that occur. As far as the improvements, it's really just the accuracy, making sure that you have less blurry images, either through the software or through the resolution of the cameras. So we've been improving that. Night vision is improved over time. Before you had to have a flash to capture the image. Now you've got the infrared that make sure you've eliminated the need for that. And it's actually better image than the flash used to give. And the flashes were distracting to people when they were driving, so we get rid of all that. It's for the speed of red light. Sometimes, these are used for, solving crimes.
That's
Somebody,
cool.
if they pass through, an image, that say, hey, we're looking for a particular vehicle. We have a rewind function. You can go back and say, yeah, this particular vehicle that was at this burglary or whatever, hit and run, whatever it happened to be at some point in time, it passed through this location at this point in time, right? And gets the details to that.
Yeah, I've
So
been
we're
waiting to
also-
ask that question.
Yeah. Mhm.
If it can be utilized by our police department for crime investigation.
Yes, absolutely, all the
Yeah.
time. You have any examples recently?
Yeah, so, to go back to your point, Commissioner, since we started, one of the major things that, we do, unlike any other vendor, we had cabinets, you've seen these cabinets throughout the area, and it's to capture the violations. Well, we've reinstalled every camera over the last 3 years, and they're fixed, right? They're fixed, they're in 12-foot poles, they're fixed. And the advantage of that is not just the capture, but the accuracy is better only because of the height. And if you will, I'm not gonna get too technical, but if you have two vehicles traveling at the same time and you have a low camera and they're traveling at the same time, and the vehicle on the outside is ahead of it, then you don't capture that vehicle. And it may be going faster. Well, just the height of that, the fixed cameras, solve that issue. And we inspect our cameras as a company on a monthly basis. There's no other vendor that does that. In Maryland, I can give you a 12-month progress report or 12-month report on our engineers coming by, making sure operationally, because it's nice to fix things virtually, to be operational there from nests to someone hitting the pole or those types of things. And so if you're not there, you can't see that. So that's one of the things that's made sure that, I know, and Bob's mentioned, the equity in regards to revenue. But I also tout the accuracy. We have over 140 cameras now up in the state of Maryland. And I'm the project director for every one of those cameras. And I don't get a call from Friday night till Monday morning. So when our cameras are up, they're up and they're working well. And we normally, from virtual experience, we normally know what's wrong with the camera before you guys do. We've instituted, in the last 4 years, a 48-hour turnaround in regards to response. So it just doesn't sit there.
If it gets hit by a car
Or something like that.
damage.
So we try to make sure that.
Yeah, we adapt, and we're also, improving right now to replace poles, in areas where we can, in locations where we can with, plug-and-play units. Right, so if the pole is taken out in an accident, instead of having to wait for, reconstruction of everything, we'll have a port there, we'll pull the whole unit out, and we'll bring in a whole unit to replace it. And then take the other one back and repair it, analyze it, whatever, service. So we're making that adaptation. One I think you're probably kind of aiming at, that, Mr. Gibbons, is, an example in, I think Coral Gables, Florida, down there. There was a case where when we install systems, we would have, they've got to be properly coded. So our engineers will code in, certain information that will communicate to whoever's reviewing the tickets, whoever's printing the tickets, where that camera was and what time of day it was, the date, time stamp, and everything else, and find the report. We had an engineer that, entered the wrong code for that community. So people in, let's say it was Coral Gables, I think it was, for about a week, they were receiving tickets. They were accurate tickets, they're properly captured, but the address and the venue on the ticket said Miami. You put in the code for Miami on the ticket, right? So people were receiving, hey, wait a second, that is my ticket, but it's from, it's stamped properly on the ticket in terms of with the issuing venue. So in that case, we caught that. We went back to the community. The community decided that they wanted to cancel all those tickets. So what we did was we absorbed those violations, red speed, compensated for that. And so there's no consequence financially to the community. And then we actually went back on to, with a local news story about what happened, explained it all. The community was with us. They said they were very happy with the resolution. So it turned into a positive, public relations event for the community.
All right.
Thanks a lot, somebody else. can have it.
Well, I was gonna say, I know that, our Elkton Police Department has vetted this, or they wouldn't have brought it here. Give me the, how do we move forward? How is the cost of the equipment included? Like, you subtract it from your fee? Is that how it works?
It's not subtracted, it's just something we absorb.
Yeah, we absorb, yeah.
It's just, the only thing we ask typically, most communities agree to this in our contract, that we will cover all the costs, never an outlay for the community. We just ask for a period of time, minimally, if there's gonna be a change in course and wants to change the program, whatever it is, that we get a year of operation to earn back our investment, from our fees. That's it, so, because, our commitment is to give you the best service, make sure that you're involved, make sure that you're the decision maker on where they go, we provide our advice, and that we've all agreed to move forward with the project. And occasionally you'll have a new election comes in, somebody says, I'm running against, these programs, so they don't like the program whatsoever. And, they'll terminate the program. If it's been operating for a year, we just pull it out and say, call us back if you ever change your mind, which almost always happens. That, we're any place where we've only been a handful of times, maybe 5 times out of, 400 accounts or whatever. There's only been about 5 times where we've ever had a program end for that reason. We've never been terminated for cause. We have been, had programs and they typically happen at the end of the contract. They'll allow the contract to go and say, we're not gonna renew it.
Understand.
Right?
What were some of the reasons for not renewing?
It's political. You know, for example, we had one in, Illinois where, using, right turn on red as an example, their chief had a zero tolerance policy for, right turn on red enforcement. We said, we don't think it's a good idea. And he said, well, we're very strict and we want to make sure everybody's treated the same, there's no. So they, had us install these units, we put them all over, their community, large community in Illinois. They turned them on Black Friday, shopping day. And they had one of the largest shopping malls in the country, where there was a conga line of cars coming in for Christmas shopping on Black Friday there. And they were just rolling through with right turns, and they were just racking up these tickets. And there was just a tremendous public reaction, and it was inevitable.
Mhm.
So because of that, they said, I guess we're gonna have to, you know, repeal the program, and they did. So that's an example.
Do we have, how many cameras are you looking at?
So we have explored the idea, and I apologize for not mentioning it sooner, but to kind of touch back on the public safety portion of it. The areas we're looking at is 279 between Bridge Street and North Street, or the area of North Street in the area of 279, right where the middle school is. Obviously, a lot of times in the morning and the afternoon, you have a lot of foot traffic from children going to and from school. You also have a lot of foot traffic from children going to and from the library. These areas are also very hot areas where we get a lot of complaints for speed. Also, 279 and North Street, that intersection right there, we get a lot of crashes there as well.
Mhm.
So these are the areas we'll target as public safety interests to help better capture that, because the officers can't be everywhere at once. And with the inception of the camera or cameras in these areas, we would better be able to serve the public in monitoring the speed, especially on North Street. It's 25-mile-an-hour zone. All day, every day, people are violating that speed limit. We get several complaints for speeding on North Street. Something like this could help better monitor that area, and also help kind of give a better safety blanket for the kids who are walking around. You never want to, see something happen to anybody, but if something did, a camera in that area might better provide police services for the public. So those are the areas we're looking at. As far as the number of cameras, I don't think we've actually explored that option yet. We wanted to make this presentation first.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? I think it's a great idea. That's been a hot spot for us. I also think Whitehall Road's a hot spot for us too.
Yes.
Right, and, I'm sure we can name a handful more.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say, let's see what the paperwork looks like and get it over to Dave Bessie to take a look at and see if we can move forward.
If we could, Erwin, you can talk about the process, the ordinances and things.
Yeah, so if, when all works well, not if, then an ordinance would have to be, substantiated about those local.
Yep.
Places, I mean, even if it's a state road, and once that in, and we have a pretty good relationship with SHA, where we're the only vendor that has monthly meetings with them about any project that we have. So, regardless of state road, local road, et cetera, but those are not reasons to move the project, forward. And then once that's done, we do the permitting process. Obviously, we get those approved, we do engineering as well as ours.
You can provide them with templates.
So that can give them a template for that, yeah.
So,
Give it all the time, yeah.
yeah, we can provide you a template on, other ordinances that have been,
You're working with the right guy.
okay,
Good,
very good.
excellent, thank you.
And listen, thank you so much for the presentation and thank you for providing lunch. Anyone wanted a sandwich, make sure you help yourself back here.
Absolutely.
Just for the record, did you work with, Mr. Chucky, in Prince George's?
Yes, I did, very well.
We'll make sure.
Absolutely,
Prince George's County.
Prince George County, sure did. Good guy. Good guy.
Thank you.
No, thank you. You appreciate it.
Thank you. Dan, you come on up and tell us what you got. I'm gonna take off for a second.
she was here.
Yeah. One of the Lanier boys was here. Thank you.
Missed that. You missed that, didn't you?
Dan, you all come on up.
Yeah, I will. Let me get out of his way here.
Thank you.
All right.
Good afternoon, Mayor, all commissioners. Okay. Hold on. Wait for him. It's gonna be a good time, if anybody wants to grab a sandwich, like you said. Grab a sandwich. Anybody can eat something.
Looks been, I don't see nobody.
Waiting for Rob anyway.
Oh.
You don't see nobody.
Yeah.
Everybody, wait for that one person.
I didn't know because
Yeah.
I have a question. Could you all see the TV monitor from where you're sitting?
Yes.
You can?
Yes.
I'm just wondering with that angle, if you could actually see. Yeah, I do. Like one for us. Like. Could you do that?
All right, Dan Hanley, you were on.
Good afternoon, Mayor, all commissioners. I'm reading below our recommendations for the award of the project 2026-001 grass cutting maintenance services, which is between the periods between April 1st through October 31st, 2026. The RFP did go out, was advertised in the Cecil Wade on the town website. We had the bids were due on Friday, February 20th at 4 p.m. We had two bidders that submitted bids. The two bidders were Scotch Landscaping LLC in Elkton, Maryland, and Bay Country Landscaping also in Elkton, Maryland. We reviewed both companies. Both companies were in good standing with the state of Maryland, so that worked out. But pure the town of Elkton's procurement policy, the bids were open and reviewed on Tuesday, February the 24th, under the observation of the committee which reviewed the bids themselves. And the following people were the committee members. There were Mr. Al Wine, Assistant Town Administrator, Tyler Home, Finance Director, Don France, Assistant Finance Director, Brian McQueen, Internal Logistical Coordinator, Cindy Ochofatimi, the Stormwater Project Manager, and myself. We reviewed the bids. Both bidders submitted a list of references and available equipment. It appears to be acceptable. So the expected bids were open and everything was on a cost basis. Based on the cost basis, unit cost, we translated everything to a 26-week cost schedule to make it to compare everything. The results were as follows for the 26 weeks, okay? Scott's Landscaping for a 26-week schedule gave us a price of $343,395. Bay Country Landscaping for a 26-week schedule gave us a price of $256,071. In addition to the bid documents, we also asked, per the board's request, to extend the contract to fiscal year 2027, 2028, as compared to the current 2026 pricing. What would it cost to do it? Scott's Landscaping told us there'd be no charge as compared to the 2026 price. So his fee for 2027 would be $343,395, and same thing for 2028. No change as compared to the 2026 price. So that the 26-week cost to them would be $343,395. Bay Country, they for 2027 they had an increase of 2.5% as compared to the 2026 price. So that would be $262,473 for 2027. And in 2028, the increase would be an additional 2.5 to 5% compared to the 2026 price. So the 2028 price would be $268,875. These are things that's it's in the, contract, we didn't necessarily have to take it, we would look at that in December to see how it worked out that way.
Let me just stop you 1 minute. So going back to the procurement policy, and I don't remember it specifically.
Mhm.
So, and I think we made some changes. So when bids are open, are the bidders there in attendance?
Mhm.
I'm talking about the bidders.
Yeah.
In other words, would Scott have a representative there, let's say Bay Country, or that's a no-no?
Well, they're here now, this is the public,
I-
for the public
I'm here.
doing it.
What'd you say now?
For the public, yeah, for the public opening, this is the public, this is the public recommendations. Again, for the procurement policy, we talked inside of the committee with a bunch of different people, so we can calculate the numbers to turn out, so we can give you the recommendations accordingly.
And my reason for that, I just, in my own mind, in your mind, and for everyone's mind too.
Sure.
How do you come up with the committee when you initially open the bid, even though they come to an open meeting as well to hear that?
Al, can you answer that?
Yeah, if I
Yeah.
can just interject,
Mhm.
And I'm referencing what we did do as to now, that's
yeah,
all.
yeah,
Mhm.
relative to the bid opening, the current procurement policy, permits the town administrator to open bids. That's, Article 4, paragraph B. As far as the deadline for the extension, it was prescribed in the RFP that, we didn't need to receive their extension quotes until December 1st, although the two respondents did submit theirs with this bid. As far as the decision to extend, that would have to be made by the board by December 31st for the RFP.
What do you mean extend?
I'm sorry.
What do you mean extend? For
Yeah,
For
for-
subsequent years?
Yeah.
Yes,
for the
so 4
board.
years.
Oh,
Yeah, extend either 1 or 2 years out, or not extend at all, that would be the decision.
So this isn't a 3-year contract?
That is correct.
It's a 1-year contract
Correct.
The board. would
with
have to
an option.
Extension, once they receive,
What if it needed to be rebid?
we would put it out to bid.
It doesn't really matter either way, right?
Right.
Okay.
One of the things I've asked last year, the same thing about extended, if, company done good, I'm using this, trash, contract as an example. The company done good and we wanted to extend. I brought this up and I think that's why you threw this in,
Yes.
from last year.
Great.
We really never had the opportunity to actually extend that contract from somebody doing good. So, I mean, I'm a little bit, discouraged the way this is going on, because I suggested last year, I didn't wanna go through the same thing we did with the trash, company, and we ended up getting somebody that we really didn't really want, but we kept them. And then we ended up having to get another, vendor for that, but I feel as though there was an opportunity at that time to extend it then, but it never really was brought up. And I think there was a few things that really stopped that. I'm just before your time, I think. Again, I'm just a little bit, perturbed about this whole thing, but anyway, we keep on moving on, what you're doing.
With the bros, can I ask a question before we get to the
Oh, yeah,
nitty gritty?
yes.
What was different in this contract versus contract from last year? As far as, stormwater management, because this is an obvious, something that kind of glares at you. So my question is, what's the difference?
The two primary changes were, specific reference to, the availability of spraying to be used, in the pricing. And, that was specified specifically in this RFP. I don't recall, where last year's RFP, I wasn't here, but, it specifically called out the opportunity to be able to use herbicide, in lieu of mowing, or a combination of both. And then the contract extension provisions.
They were the two differences.
Yeah.
And we did add like one additional area, I believe. I mean, we've got one set up for, next to the Napa, when we kick that over, that's whenever we get that property, we added that to the couple.
And why was that change made on the treatment of the stormwater management plan?
I think I can speak for the committee, that the committee, with the information we had, determined that it was an acceptable practice, it was an environmentally safe practice, and it could end up saving the town money.
It appears that could be the case. Possibly. I don't know. I'm trying to look at, what we have in front of us
Mhm.
and explain to myself, what's this big difference? And the only difference I was aware of was that provision that was put in it, which definitely raises some red flags for me. Because even though, it's allowed, spraying herbicides, pesticides, whatever, even though it's allowed, I'm not sure if it's a preferred method. And I'm not aware, did we do this last year?
And
That question.
that's failing that before you answer that. That's one of the things where I'm just a little bit, touchy about, because I wasn't involved with, when you guys opened to see whatever the bids were. But through this whole process, my name was thrown up in the different situations with, I haven't talked to the vendors about, the contractors about their issues with the storm pond and all this. But then come to find out through talk, which I don't deal with, and if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it right, if you're not gonna do it at all. I've heard some things about some people spraying, some people not spraying. I've heard different people from the department heads giving somebody some advice not to use this, not to use that. Whether it's true or not, I don't care. But the thing I'm gonna stand my grounds on is, if people didn't get the same, option to bid on something or not bid on something, I'm not voting for this mess. That's plain and simple. Now, and if the people that I find out that the names were thrown to me, if their names are come out to be that they've given some kind of tip about don't use the spray or don't do this, I like to ask for their removal from their position. That's the way I feel right now. And the last thing I wanna say, I hate to sound like this, but that's the way I am. The last thing I'm gonna say is, as far as like these bids, I'd like to go back the last 2 years and see how these ponds were done. Again, I had no clue with this stuff last year. If you're doing it a certain way last year, if you're not doing it this year, I wanna know how come you changed. That's my.
Get an answer for that right now. Yes,
we can
get an answer right now.
Yeah.
So as far as the ponds, they were cut later in the season, the first year we went out to bid. I believe they started in June, if I'm not mistaken. And the issue that arose with the ponds is the town, we maintain ponds a certain way with our maintenance staff. We've never dealt with a contractor maintaining the pond. So going from our method to a landscaper's method caused some miscommunications. So with those miscommunications, in the end of that, the contractor that we initially went with decided on their own, pretty much, to go and fulfill all of the problems that we were discussing with them, all of the miscommunications. They went out and they completely gutted several of the ponds. My request as stormwater program manager was for the maintenance to be to the bottom of the pond embankment. So at the bottom of the slope, there's what we call the toe. They were supposed to cut to that part and portions of the bottom to eventually cut the entire bottom. That wasn't happening initially with the contractor. So we kept going back and forth. So the contractor, I guess, through their own frustration, went in and completely gutted the pond. And I'm sure a lot of you've seen during that time period that the ponds were clean. Exponentially.
May I ask, what method did they use to completely gut the pond?
From what I saw, it was manually. They manually went in with several staff or several of their people and just went and gutted the bottom of several of these ponds. Now,
Remove the fragmity, it's good.
We remember all that,
You remember
because
all
you
that.
were in violation at one point, right?
well,
Well, there were issues.
there were issues.
Not violations.
The state
Right.
requires for them to report issues with pond maintenance. I have to be transparent with
Right.
the state
And
on whether
things-
we're,
Things weren't in good shape,
right,
so we hired a company to come in to
right.
do it. But it still wasn't in good shape, and you had to go back and make adjustments and have them come in and redo the job, and they went in and did it,
Yes,
and it got done,
yes,
but it was all done manually,
yes.
okay?
But there are, there's layers to that as well. So initially, before we chose the contractors, Dan, Brian, and myself, we met with a company called Bartlett Tree Services.
Hmm.
And we met with them to give us an estimated cost on spraying the phragmites in the pond so that we can maintain them easier.
Who's
With the
we?
limited, grass maintenance staff that we had.
We had it at the time.
Yeah, the one we had at the time.
You're
Because
talking a
I'm
couple
getting
years
behind.
ago.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that was about 2023, beginning of 2024.
Right.
So in order for us to maintain the ponds easier, to get our riding mowers in and out of those ponds and to do it more efficiently,
Mhm.
we opted for the method of spraying. Now, spraying is not a one and done type situation. It has to go in stages from what I understand. And that's what we were leaning toward. If we can get rid of some of these phragmites or these invasive plants in the bottoms, we can maintain the ponds easier. So that was the thinking behind
That's
spraying.
when DPW was doing it,
Yes.
Yes.
okay.
So when we initially contacted, I guess, our first vendor, we brought up the idea of spraying, to keep that same method. If we spray, we can get rid of the phragmites in the pond bottoms, ponds can be maintained easier. And it could absorb some of the costs for the maintenance. So
Right.
the lesser cost and ease of maintenance and inspections from my end
Okay, so that brings us up to what?
to today. So we've never really diverted from our initial plan to spray.
So I'm gonna ask the question. Does both of these Scotts and Baker Company meet both your criteria, what you want done in these ponds? Now, I'm just asking,
That's my question.
does both these companies get exactly what you just now explained that's gonna be done in this contract? So if I wanted to get the job, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna do neither one, but I want that contract. Are you gonna give it to me? That's my question.
David, we allowed to ask the vendors their
Well,
plan
the vendors are here. Your
Okay,
vendors
I know
are
they're here. I'm asking David,
Yeah, but we need to,
can we ask them?
we need to stay at the front right here if I'm staying without allowing them to come.
I don't know if I'm comparing apples and oranges or not. I really don't at this point. Okay, but go ahead.
So with the subject of spraying, we asked the first vendor when our first contract happened with the landscaping, do they spray? And they said, we do spray.
Who?
Bay Country.
Was this 2 years ago?
This is what our first contract is, 2024.
Right. Yeah.
3 years, 3 years ago.
Fiscal year 2024.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we asked them
Yes,
if they had the ability to spray,
yes,
and they said they did.
right.
But it was never moved forward. So we didn't move forward with that. So they just did it manually. Spraying is not as, I wouldn't say it would be a preferable method, but it's a means to a better end as far as pond maintenance. So if we spray, we can maintain the ponds better. I can inspect them better. We can do what the site plans originally stated that what we're supposed to do with the ponds. But if we continue to manually cut without doing the initial spraying, like we said in 2023, we're gonna keep getting the same. We're gonna be putting the same place every year. Because the phragmites, they grow every year and they grow thicker each time.
I understand that, but, did we use, what method was used last year?
Manually,
Totally manual,
yes,
okay.
to a point, yeah, to a point.
And there's just no way to eradicate this Phragmites?
With the spraying, there's a step method, so it would probably be a certain, maybe 1 to 3, well, not 1, but maybe 3-year process, where you spray at a certain time, you get started on that eradication process. The plants in the pond's bottom are invasive plants. They may appear as though they're beneficial. Some of the plants, Phragmites, cattails, they absorb some of the nitrogen and phosphorus in the pond, but it hinders us, the town, from inspecting the pond bottom and making sure its integrity is correct, or that the grading is in accordance with the site plans. Because some of these ponds, they're supposed to be, the bottoms of them are supposed to be dredged, if they accumulate so much amount of sediment. But if it's filled with Phragmites, that's not happening.
Have we had to dredge any in recent times?
No, we haven't. We haven't. But that's an ideal situation, and most municipalities across the state, probably the country, deal with the same
The
issue.
spraying concerns me. I'm not sure exactly what you're spraying, but it runs off into the bay. It runs off into our drinking supply. And that concerns me. I want to know what it is and what the repercussions could be.
So we have, discussed with, I believe she's on, maybe she's still there.
Yeah.
Kelly Love, she's the enforcement coordinator for Maryland Department of Agriculture.
You just happen to have her
So, Kelly, are you there?
She's gonna mute her, please.
here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, take out the echo.
So Kelly, you're here, at our meeting, and we're trying, one of the, council members has questions about herbicides.
Sorry, I had the sound on elsewhere, so we're good now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Can you speak a little bit about herbicide and pesticides and their effect on the environment,
This application.
possibly the application and process for all of that?
Okay, I'm here. Sydney, can you speak up? I can't hear you very well.
Is there, can you kind of share with the council, the process, maybe the importance of having certification and the effects of herbicide and pesticides as they deal with stormwater ponds?
Yes, absolutely. So, pesticides are an important tool in maintaining a lot of these. Applicators that maintain these ponds and work on these ponds are certified through our office and are required to have a license with us, which requires a core part, which is basic use and safety, as well as a category. So Phragmites is an aquatic plant, so that would require the aquatic endorsement on their license, in addition to like a turf. So, all applicators take the core test, which is basic use and safety, and then they take individual endorsements for specialties. Aquatic would happen to be one of them, turf and ornamental is another, and then structural pest control is another one. I know that's not what we're talking about here. So these applicators are trained and experienced. They have to have a year's worth of experience to even apply to take our test. So, we're talking educated people that have been trained in the proper use of these products. Now, products go through a double process. Any pesticide product, it's approved by the US EPA for its registration. And then again, Maryland, on top of that, also registers the pesticides. So applicators are trained that they can only use products that are approved by the US EPA as well as the Maryland State Chemist. They have to be used as per the label rates. So what a label is we get up and we always tell people the label is the law. The labels are federally made by EPA, so it is actually it's illegal to break, it's a violation of federal law to not spray them as per the label instructions. And we have several inspectors that go around and and do these observations and do inspections on these companies. So the companies would have to have the license and as well as the aquatic certification endorsement to be able to do stormwater management ponds. Now, they're very beneficial. They should not be a runoff concern because they're containment ponds. And we're also talking about using ounces per 100 to 200 gallons. They're made at specific rates so that they pose little to no effect on any human or animal species or any environmental issues.
Thank you, Kelly. Any questions from the board?
I felt
Kelly?
better. She said no effect, but she said little to no.
So we have different classes of pesticides and different safety and signal words. Without knowing specifically what products they're using, there's a range. We have products called 25B, which are basically lower risk products that do not require an EPA registration. They're the less effective, more like essential oil type stuff. Whereas then there's the signal words for each of the pesticides. So depending on what product they're using, they'll either be a caution, a warning, or a danger. And as that step goes up is the amount of possible effects from acute toxicity if there's any type of exposure. So if they're using a caution product, that would have the least possibility of having an acute reaction to the product.
Excuse me, what is her explanation has to do with the question on the floor? Somebody tell me, unless I'm done.
He asked, what's the harmful effects of a spray?
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
she's the person you have to go through to spray.
That's why, that's no problem.
That's fine. I mean, we all understand that it wouldn't be done if it wasn't legal.
Right.
We wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't regulated. We've never had a question about that.
Well, you must understand that we ask these questions for our constituents that do not have a voice up here. We are looking out for their well-being.
Yeah, I didn't particularly need, an explanation of what the law allowed.
I just want to know the things.
Thank you. I guess the comment that I'd like to make, both companies that bid on our grass and storm water management program, great companies.
Yes.
Both are great companies. And at the end of the day, to me, the difference is $87,000. And that's my point. I don't see, when it comes to the stormwater management pond, that was definitely the difference in the price of the quote. And I understand everyone's question about it, but listening to you, Sid, it's probably a good technique to be able to spray and do actual maintenance, right?
But I think
Okay.
that's our question.
That's the question. Or
That's our
both the
question.
I'm not sure who's doing what. Are both the companies doing the manual and the spray? That's my question.
Well, I can either go cut my grass or I can spray the entire lawn. I have that option. Which is the better choice?
It's
Which is gonna cost me more?
It's
time and
different
labor.
from your grass. Once you spray a grass ground, it's.
I know.
But the pond.
I'm talking. What time and labor, okay? Let's go there. Let's
We
go
can,
with it.
even in the RFP, it says mechanical or chemical.
We know that.
But I think the understanding of it is, it's not we spray, we have this huge mushroom cloud of weeds flying everywhere and it's done. It's a process. It's an addition,
It's
it's
a
a
process. Well,
supplemental.
then how do we
process.
explain the difference in the bid on that particular topic without an explanation?
Yeah, well, we won't have that. We would have to be sitting in the room when they go over their numbers and you
Well,
can't get involved.
What if the town of Elkton were to say, we don't want any chemicals used, regardless?
That's fine, yeah.
Would the companies still want to keep their bids?
I mean,
That's another
Per
question.
the document, you know, it's either chemical or mechanical, it doesn't matter. That's where you put it out there in the RFP. That way, you put it out there so everybody has the same equal play.
But you're missing the point. What if we don't want or?
if you don't want or, you're removing the ideal situation for proper stormwater
And
management.
what happened last year when we used none?
Last year was part of the bid documents till we kind of figured it out.
Right.
That's why to figure it out.
We didn't know.
Was there a problem with the ponds? Was there a complaint
There
that they weren't
Prime
maintaining?
monies are still out there though. I mean, they were removed a couple of years ago, but they're still there next year. They show up again. So that's what we're trying to kill the prime money.
Yeah, there was no issue as far as pond maintenance as we understood it. But if we're gonna move forward with this process of contracting a landscaper, we need to be move further with our maintenance. And we cut the ponds, we were cutting the pond bottom since I came to town 20 years ago. We were in the bottoms of the ponds cutting them. So, it's always been that process, but spraying versus cutting is not a versus thing. It's not a, you either spray or you don't.
Comes to cost.
You know, we're saying a lot of things.
Contractors, they're here, let them explain what they.
Explain.
I mean, no, I'm not being biased, I'd rather hear from them. You're saying the same things, you're saying the same things, Sid. I understand maintenance manually and spraying.
Right.
What you guys are asking them to do, did they bid on it, bid on that the same way you guys are explaining? Now, I'd like to hear from the contractor.
But before they come, weren't they both given the same
Yes.
requirements?
Yes, sir.
No, they were
They
given
were
the
not-
same opportunity.
Same document.
Same document and the same requirement.
If you say, I'm gonna go in, and do, less manual labor, I'm gonna bid less manual labor. My question is that what we want?
Well,
I
here's,
don't know.
there's 3 games of the bidding process and the contractors will answer. Here's what I can tell you, like from last year, for the 2025 contract, you know, we had 28 weeks worth of cost. And Scott's Landscaping was 298,200 and Bay Country was 437,724. So since they both went through the exercise and was going with it, they probably said, what do we really need to do? So when they get their numbers together, that's their numbers. I mean, we have
Right.
those exactly,
I
so.
have nothing to do with that.
Right, but you're asking, what I'm saying is, what's the difference? I can't answer that question. That's, everybody's got different
Well,
ways.
they can, well, they can, because I wanna know
So
why.
last year, Bay Country might thought the wrong
They
thing,
were.
because they was 400 and some, and why were they that high if they thought they was bidding the same thing? So
But
then
here-
let them explain.
Here's another thing. The stormwater management cost
Yeah, you're right.
by one vendor was decreased by $3,000. That's more than the cost presented.
Appropriate to even have them talk. I don't even
You
know.
know?
Appropriate
I-
to have our
That's the reason why.
That's why I asked David.
It's atypical, admittedly, but if both bidders are given an opportunity to speak, I don't see anything objectionable about it. I would just wanna make sure that whatever they speak about, they're answering questions based on what they proposed. I don't want an expansion beyond what's proposed, or other concessions, or they're saying, well, we could do this instead of what we proposed. It needs to be limited to an explanation of their proposal, not an expansion of it, or things that differ from it.
Fair enough, it's pretty much what we want.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and ask Bay Country. I think the question that we have is that, the difference in the total amount of the bid, you gave us a tremendous savings on the stormwater management part of this project. I guess the question I'm having, what is your technique?
Certainly, our technique is gonna be based off of our experience that we've had over several years and decades of working with stormwater management and proper practices.
we build off of a lot of what we learned from Newcastle County and surrounding areas. Where, if I can provide an example, we had a storm, or a containment pond up in, Wilmington that was over 85% occluded with, Phragmites. We had a plan, and actually we did, include Bartlett at the time with us on that, where we went in and we had to manually cut down all the Phragmites. And then we had a plan in place where we would spray 3 times per year, to be able to kill the Phragmites. We did that over the course of the next 3 years, and at this point in time, we've been servicing that pond for the last 5 years and have minimal amount of maintenance work with that now that we've completely cleared the Phragmite. And so ultimately, the goal is to get the Phragmite out of the pond, because otherwise it will completely take over, and it will not, then the pond will have to be completely redone per state and county codes. And so ultimately, the goal is to get everything knocked down and then to spray it multiple times per year over the course of the next couple of years, to then be able to get the ponds to where they need to be per the plans originally.
Thank you. You have anyone have a direct question, or should I ask Mr.?
So to me, it would sound like you was just spraying, not maintenance.
No, sir.
Because when they're talking this here, saying they're spraying it.
No, sir.
Okay.
You have to have the manual component with the spray component, because the Phragmites are only going to kill about 75 to 80% of what you cut down. So you have to cut it down first, and then you spray, okay? And then as the new stuff comes up, then you cut that down, spray it again, okay? But you're going to get incremental increases on death rates of the Phragmites as you go along. And so with our aquatic herbicide license, we have the ability to do that. We can do that multiple times in one season. The recommendation would be 3 or 4 times in one season. And then by year 3, it should almost be down to 0.
What if you are not treating the ponds in year 2? What if you?
That would be your decision.
That's our decision
Yeah.
on how,
If year
vendor would
1,
be
you went with us,
treating.
and then year 2, you went with somebody else, I mean, there's nothing we can do about if
So-
Phragmites come back.
So you do plan on spraying, we've established that, right? And does that equate for the $3,000 difference in
We're very comfortable with the numbers that we proposed, yes.
that would? Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Scott, you have a comment?
I do. Actually, from last year's contract to this year's contract, there was no definition of what was being done in our stormwater management ponds. This year it was. There was more direction and what they wanted at the centers of the ponds. So we decided to go with manual labor, because in the contract it asks if you can spray, can you? There was no direction of spraying and doing manual labor with that. So ours was to go with manual, which is why ours went up in price, because that is what was directed in that bid for the description of what they wanted for stormwater management. That's what I have.
Thank you. You go with that? All right. Any other questions or comments to Dan and his team?
Does the board want to award it, do you want to sit down for a week and award it at the next meeting, or what's the next step for the board? That's my question.
Well, listen, from my standpoint, I'm ready to move on, but listen, I'm looking at the ones that had the most questions. If you feel comfortable, not comfortable, and moving forward.
I'm not sure what more information we could be gathering. I don't know. I kind of feel like for me, on a personal level, this would be a personal choice for me. As far as what, I'm not against, using herbicides, pesticides, whatever, but I don't, if I'm not comfortable with a clear method, plan of action, other than this, we can do this and we can do that. I'm going to vote according to what I believe is best, for the town.
Very good. Do we have a motion for Bay Country with the low bidder of $256,070.75. We have a motion to move forward with Bay Country. I'll make the motion to get a vote. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move forward with Bay Country at $256,070.75. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We got two opposed.
Opposed.
Opposed. I would like to put it off 1 week and have further discussion.
Well,
Huh? Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
so when is this supposed to be put off until when? Next time, as we proceed with this, do we get a chance to discuss the ramifications of what's gonna be what? And then, even with us voting, are we gonna vote for the procedure? Particularly if the town explains it right when you meet again? Or are we gonna be looking at a $87 difference or a difference, whatever it might be? So if we're putting it off, these are some questions that need to be answered going into it.
I guess, we just voted down Bay Country. I think if you want to move forward with Scott's Landscaping, there has to be a motion and a second and another vote. If it's not to move forward with, I'm really confused
You
here
mean
because
with
if,
either one?
if we're not gonna, but it's $87,324 difference in the two.
Well, here's the thing, in all fairness, it sounds like Scott's they weren't aware that they could do it manually and chemically. So they gave a bid for manually. In all fairness, to both sides.
But it was in the bid, Rob.
Yeah.
Right? I mean.
It's in the bid.
It's in the bid.
Now,
I
Scott,
think-
yeah, that's what it works, as far as someone, now,
Yeah.
Rob Scott did, stormwater manager, he did a great job doing the maintenance on the pond. I was able to report to the state of Maryland that the ponds were sufficiently maintained. There's no, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. There's no contention that what he did last year versus what Bay Country did the year before. That's not the issue we're having. What we're trying to do is progress the maintenance. And by putting that in the RFP, that's a means of doing it without just asking, hey, can you spray? Or, yeah, we can do it, and, just going that way. So there's no contention there versus the work. It's just, we're making it a little bit more progressive.
Yeah, I don't think the question was the word.
Okay.
The question was the option.
Am I able to, they go into 15-minute closed session with the board, to talk some personnel stuff, and then bring it back to the page? Can we do that?
Sure, if you're looking for advice of council on this,
Yes,
yes.
okay. I asked for a closed meeting for personnel for about 15 minutes, maybe 13. And then, come back and try to give an answer.
Okay,
I'm gonna do this legally, I'm just to clear my mind.
Okay, so, Earl's made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, and a second to discuss with.
And I appreciate the comments, so
To discuss with council.
Yeah,
Who do you
thank
want
you.
in the meeting, Earl?
let the council and, Lou,
Al.
Lou Junior. But I appreciate you guys, like I said, I'm trying
Do you want Dan and Cindy in?
Well, we can wait outside and come back in.
I just want, because I want some personnel. Okay.
Okay, you just want Al and Dave.
And the board.
Okay.
Will our decision affect the author of this information?
No, because they gave us the
No, change with the wording.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we will reconvene. We will reconvene. Thank you. Can we get them off the Zoom?